Michelle, what is the concept of a mental health day?
Oh, wow. A mental health day is when you take a day off from school or work because you just really need some time to check in with yourself and to feel okay. Right, Lindsay?
Yeah, this is becoming more and more common and more accepted in American business culture. So today, guys, we're going to talk about it and we're going to show you how you could actually explain to a colleague that you're going to take a day off for your mental health. Michelle, are you ready for this episode?
I'm ready, guys. Remember to hit subscribe on YouTube so you never miss anything from us.
All right, let's go for it.
All right.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing today?
Hey, Lindsay, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, guys. You got to know that today's episode is not only as a podcast, an Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen, but it's also on where, Michelle? It's on?
We're on YouTube today, Lindsay. So yeah,
Yes.
you can see how we express ourselves.
So go over there, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do one video, one of these podcast episodes every week goes on YouTube. So cool. New way to consume all ears English. All
Awesome.
right.
Love it. Lindsay, do you believe in mental health days? And do you ever take them?
Ooh, yes. Well, so if I needed it, I would definitely want to take it because I know that our mental health really affects our work, right? How can it not? I mean, we are whole people, right? We bring
Yeah.
our whole selves to our work, so there's no way that we can separate. It's unhealthy to separate as well. What do you think,
Mhm.
Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I think I should sometimes. I could definitely use it, but I think
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't think there's enough of an emphasis on that
Yeah.
being
Mm.
okay, really. We talk about sick days, but like mental health
Yeah.
is also your health, right? So, I mean,
Mhm.
I remember like in school, I remember one of my friends' moms, talking about, oh, like she should, like, that she wanted her daughter to take a mental health day and like just like relax.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think, unfortunately, that there's enough stress on this. I think that there should be mental health days that people can take. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think, this is another topic that's going to go into another day, I
Yeah.
think. But I'm actually reading a book right now. It's not on my desk, but it's called Shorter. And it's about this whole new movement to move the work week, how companies are moving the work week to a 4-day work week instead of
I've
a
heard a little
5-day
bit
work
about that.
week.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a good book.
I know. I actually really want to get the author on our show. I'm trying to
Oh,
contact him to get him on the show. But like, yeah, I mean, these are interesting topics, right? So the idea of we can compress the work week into 4 days, then Fridays could be our mental health day every week. In our
yeah,
company, we are very flexible. So we don't really tell anyone when to work.
right.
We're able to take our own days as we want. But I think there is something to, so there's a wave right now of people wanting to just become more whole as
Yeah.
people and to be able to work better if we have more time for ourselves. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And guys, there will be kind of another episode along the similar lines coming up in the
Mhm.
next week or so. So definitely look
Yeah.
out for that one.
Yeah, I mean, we know that you guys are so focused on your careers, you're
Yeah.
global professionals, you are achievers, and we're going to help you find out how to, maximize your English for that success. But let's also talk about our lives, right? How to be better in our lives in general. Let's talk about that with our listeners, Michelle, right?
Absolutely. So I thought of this because I saw this article in the Huffington Post, or if it's just Huff Post now, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but it's the best day of the week to take a mental health day off work. Any time off work is great, but there's a way to make the most of a break
Hmm.
for self-care. This is by Monica Torres, and it was May 19th, 2021. So we will leave the link to that article so you can check it out. Right, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm excited to find out exactly what they think that day is, and then we'll see what we think, right,
Yeah.
Michelle? But
Yep.
but before we do that, Michelle, there is an exciting event coming up towards the end of July. What is going on at All Ears English?
Well, we got a web class. Oh my gosh, we love these guys. This is with
Yeah.
Jessica and Aubrey, and this is a live web class. So make sure you are on time. This is 3 steps to fearless phone calls in English. Lindsay, that's a huge topic.
That's big, Michelle, because we know you guys, you're at work, you are often getting on that phone, and sometimes maybe you're on a conference call with the New York office and people are speaking fast. We're going to show you how to do it right. So, guys, go to allearsenglish.com/phone phone, PHONE, and sign up for your desired date and time. We have 2 options. Put your name down, show up on time, and join the live web class.
Awesome. Okay, so Lindsay, question. If
Okay.
you were to take a mental health day, what day might you be inclined to take?
Yeah. So for me, I would take Fridays just because I think it's the most strategic because it would create a 3-day weekend. So then I would be able to have a big block of time, especially, maybe, mental health day. We're just talking about one time a year or 2 times a year. We're not talking about every week, but I do think like if I could then make it a whole weekend, then I could get a true rest. I mean, they say we need at least 24 hours just to get our minds out of work.
Yeah.
But I think if it's a true emergency, you may also take like a Wednesday to break up your week.
Yeah.
What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, I feel like that my first inclination would be like, oh, a Wednesday. And I think the article even talks about that. Like, but okay, we'll get to it in just a second. I mean, it talks about how mental health days can be really useful. But the interesting part is that, talking about what days specifically. So for example, they had, I believe, a quote from Melody Wilding, who's a licensed social worker. And she's also an executive coach. And she says that it's best to do, like Lindsay said, a long weekend rather than during the week, like a Wednesday. So ding, ding, ding.
Well, for me, it's kind of obvious, but then I also agree with the Wednesday idea. I mean, it just depends on what how dire it is, right? Also, if you're taking a mental health day, presumably maybe it's an emergency that comes up and you need to take it right away. So that would be whatever day is coming up if something has happened, right?
Right. I mean, it mentions that, it might be better to have this longer time that you said. It might just be that, if you take a Wednesday, it's just the one day and you might really need that real time to decompress, like the long weekend. But there was also a life coach named Shanita Liu, who actually says that Mondays, Lindsay, you didn't say Monday.
No.
And that would be a long weekend too. So what kind of draws you to Friday?
Yeah, well, this book that I've been reading talked about that some companies do close on Mondays to make it that 4-day work week. I mean, I like my job. I like what we do. On a Monday, I actually want to go to work. I'm excited about it. Like, I want to sit down at my desk, check our emails, see what students are doing. Like, I guess I'm lucky.
I mean, she mentions that, because if you take a Friday, it's more just like it's more like thought of as like part of the weekend, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, so it mentions how it doesn't really, almost like a Friday doesn't necessarily seem like a real day. It's just like the start of the weekend. Whereas if you do the Monday, it's like, oh, now we're starting our week, right? And like, we'll feel better for the whole week.
Yeah. And well, true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you could think of it that way. It just depends on, I think it depends on your personal situation. I want to come back on Monday, be rested, be ready. Maybe the week before I took my personal day, my mental health day, and I'm ready to go on Monday morning. I don't know, Michelle, what do you think? I mean, what, well,
I'm trying to even think about like when we have long weekends, like a holiday weekend and what I prefer the most.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
we would rather have like the Monday or the Friday off.
Sometimes we have Labor Day, right? And Memorial Day is also usually a Monday, right? Isn't it? No.
Memorial Day is a Monday.
Is usually a Monday. And so is Labor Day. So we do have those weekends sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you prefer if you were taking a mental health
I'm trying to think. I do kind of like have There is so funny because it's the same thing, but there's something psychologically different about it, right? Like if you are getting the Friday off, like I'm almost like inclined to go somewhere, right? If it's attached on the Friday, whereas a Monday seems more like, okay, we're just taking this day to get ready for the week. I don't know.
I see what you mean. Yeah. So you may stay home, but you're actually just kind of hanging out at home doing it. Depends on what you want to do. For me, I feel like a lot of office jobs, like people will already be, I don't know, in the US, a lot of modern tech companies, they'll be cracking open beers Friday afternoons. So in my mind, I might as well be at home or going out with friends on a Friday than at work drinking a beer.
Right.
But that's just modern office culture.
But we kind of then it's kind of like, what is a mental health day? So I also
Yeah,
read
exactly.
this was interesting. So a licensed psychologist is also mentioned in the article, Lisa Aubrey Austin,
Okay.
who mentions that, there are, ways to be successful in getting this mental health day, and talking
Yeah.
about, self-care,
Yeah.
maybe
Hmm.
doing, she talks about meditation, yoga,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of paraphrasing a quote here, but maybe therapy, whatever it is, or
Yeah.
getting physical, doing exercise,
Yeah.
doing something that's going to make you feel good. So,
Feel
and
good.
she talks about
Hmm.
how, you want to almost like plan your mental health day and enjoy
Yeah.
it for your mental health. So, if it is just like this, oh, hey, I'm just taking a long weekend, I almost think
Yeah.
that's different than a
Mm.
mental health day.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm interpreting this more as like, oh, what day do I want to take off of the week?
Yeah.
But we're talking here about like I'm having a lot of stress. I'm having a
Yeah.
mental emergency in a way. Like I need space from work. And so
Right.
which day is most strategic? I
Mm.
still think it's a really personal decision though, it just
Oh,
really
I
depends.
think it's different for everybody. I mean, I think if you have to
Yeah.
do it, try it out in different ways. I mean, these were just, some of the, I was paraphrasing some of the things from this article, and there were some really interesting ideas that I hadn't thought about before. So guys, we will give
Yeah.
you that link. I mean, Lindsay, let's talk about some ways that we can talk about mental health days. I mean,
Yeah.
like ways that we can describe these days to someone, to maybe a friend. Lindsay, I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh-huh.
the first one is a mental health day, right? That's like a
Yeah.
very common phrase.
Yeah, exactly. And I do wonder, I mean, before we go into the terms, I wonder how, I mean, our listeners are from all over the world, right?
Mhm.
Brazil, China, Japan. I mean, what is the view towards mental health days in your
Yeah.
culture? Because it's still not completely accepted even in American culture. It just depends
Yeah.
on the workplace, right? This is a brand new idea. It may depend on the industry too, Michelle, right?
For sure. I think, offices are evolving, and I was reading something, maybe I'll try and find it. I don't know where I saw it, but how, especially coming out of the pandemic, how things really have to change, and people
Yeah.
aren't going to necessarily like take from like their office, like, there
Yeah.
are different needs, and people are going to have to respect each
Yeah.
other's boundaries and mental health and things like that, more than we
Yeah.
had thought of in the past. So I'm hoping that from a terrible situation, that the tragedy that happened, I'm hoping maybe in the workplace there will be some positive things that come out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, there could be. We'll see what happens. We'll see I do think things are going to get shaken up quite a bit
Yeah.
from the pandemic. It's just so early to say how, right? What
Yeah.
exactly is going to change? We've talked about this, like
Yeah.
fashion. How's that going to change?
Yeah.
All sorts of interesting things. But let's go into the terms, Michelle, a little bit in case our listeners want to open a conversation with a colleague, right? Let's say you have
Mhm.
decided to take that day, guys. What could you say?
Mhm.
Michelle, what would be the next one to say?
The next one is a day to check in with myself. So like check in with
Yeah.
myself. That's a good expression there.
Yeah, to check in. So it's a phrasal verb, check in with
Mhm.
myself. The next one is just, hey, I'm just going to take a break on Wednesday. I need it. I'm going to take a break. Right.
Yeah, if you feel, I mean, I don't think that there should be a stigma with the expression mental health day, but if you somehow feel like
Mm,
you don't want to quite give away this information, maybe you don't want to have someone worried, whether that's right or wrong,
yeah.
if you want other ways to say it, you can just say like, I'm going to need a break,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break.
But I think there definitely is a stigma, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even, with our generation, it's pretty common for people to see a therapist in American culture in our generation, right? Like people do, they do it all the time. But in my parents' generation, I can speak for
Mhm.
just my parents, my mom, both my parents are in their 70s. They would never go to a therapist.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a thing.
Yeah.
And so if you just look at that within American culture, therapy, mental health, how things have changed, I'm pretty sure that in different parts of the world, it's still a big stigma. Guys, you can let us know,
Yeah.
right, Michelle? We can hear from our listeners on this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. You're totally right on that, Lindsay. I mean, it's sad, and I'm hoping things are going to
It's
be
sad.
continuing to evolve, because it's so important to consider your mental health, and there's nothing wrong or nothing to be ashamed of if you're struggling.
Yeah. And the good jobs are doing this, right? They are considering people professionals as whole people, right? That
Mhm.
have a mind, have a heart, have a body, and need to respond to those things
Mhm.
for sure. So what's the other one, Michelle? This one's very common now
Mhm.
in our culture. What is it?
Me time. And we've kind of touched on this a little bit before, but this is very common. Like, oh, I need some me time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good one.
And I see this more, I guess, with families. I hear about this more with moms or families, right? Needing some me time away from their kids or from their husband or whatever it
Right.
is. What do you think, Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Once in a
need me
while.
time.
Do you
Like,
need
I
me
don't
time?
really like I think maybe we'll do another episode about this, but like a lot of my me time is like very late at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's not a good thing either,
That's not
but
good.
it's like that's like the only time you really have. But I've also read other things about that. So now I'm thinking I want to save that. So we'll
Save
talk about
that.
it
Save
another
that.
time.
We have a lot of
Lindsay,
topics for our listeners coming up in the next few months, Michelle. It's exciting.
exactly. Lindsay, what's the last one?
All right. A day to myself or a day for myself. So
Mhm.
I'm going to take a day for myself next Tuesday. I'll be in touch on Wednesday. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And you have to see like what's the response of your boss. And maybe we can talk about that another time. Like how,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel comfortable saying that, like, oh, I'm just
Yeah.
like not gonna be there. Like it's
I know.
so in a way you almost wonder like if it is better to just be more direct or something. It's a whole other discussion we could have, like how like your boss would handle you
Mm-hmm.
saying something like that.
Yeah, we can talk about workplace culture a lot for sure, because I know it affects a lot of our listeners and we want to get into it, guys. So, Michelle, what is the takeaway for today? This concept of the mental health day. What are we coming away with today?
Well, yeah, mental health days are important. Unfortunately, they're not really given that much attention in today's
Yeah.
society, in American culture at least, in the US. But I wish there was more of a focus on it. So we talked today about mental health days, about the culture in the US, and we gave you some vocabulary words to describe mental health days. So let us know your thoughts. Definitely comment. We'll be curious to hear from you.
Yeah, if you guys check this out on YouTube, let us know in the comments, are mental health days a thing in your
Yes.
culture? And is mental health is still kind of a stigma in your culture, right? The concept of therapy, mental health, paying
Yeah.
attention to what you need in your heart and mind, is that still stigmatized as it is still for many generations in our culture? Right, Michelle? So super
Yep.
interesting stuff. Glad we got into this today. Thanks for the topic.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Have a good one. And
All
guys,
right.
wait, remember the web
Oh,
class?
yes. Oh my God. We
Don't
almost
forget.
forgot. Okay, Michelle, guys, go to allersenglish.com/PHONE and sign up for that live web class. One more time, Michelle, what is the topic? What are we doing on that class?
Talking about tips for being fearless on phone calls in English.
Fearless phone calls. I love it. Go get it, guys. allersenglish.com/phone.
All right. Bye,
All
Lindsay.
right. Bye. Take care.